playing golf down here, being out in those courses, sort of looking around. And then I have a boat up on a lake about a half hour north of where I live and similar terrain, right? And just the pine trees, I was looking at like, "Man, these things are gorgeous. These Carolina pines."
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Robbie here, introducing you to today's guest, my friend, Billy Richards. You probably know Billy from Carolina Pines Golf. Incredible photographer, drone guy, like does it all, like courses, call on him, trust him to document maybe a course build, developments within the progress of renovation, or just to come show off how good a course looks. So, Billy is an incredible talent, has become a good friend. And I was excited to get to chat with him. And I think you guys are going to enjoy this conversation. As always, we are brought to you by our friends at Summit Golf Brands, B Draddy, Zero Restriction, Fairway, and Green. If you are looking to get out on the course here this summer as we start warming up, check out any and all of those brands. You might need the Zero Restriction for a little rainy day. You might need some cool stuff from B Draddy, the Fairway and Green stuff. Just got some of that. It's pretty awesome. So check out all those websites. And if you use Best Ball 20, you can get 20% off your order. So let's jump right into this interview with Billy Richards, our good friend, about Carolina Pines Golf. Y'all enjoy. All right. Well, joining me today is my friend Billy Richards, Carolina Pines Golf. Billy, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. Just getting back from a couple day trip with the family down in Georgia. So, just unpacking bags and trying to get my life back in order after being on the road for a while. So,
Yeah, you were down at Jekyll. Got to play down there at the new restoration, I should say, right?
yes, I guess it is a restoration. I was learning more about the whole history of it all and what was there and kind of what they did while I was down there. But it was, yeah, I mean, I know you had visited recently too, but it was a really cool experience. I'm glad I went down. Really enjoyed the golf course a lot. I'm very impressed at what they did. Those greens are amazing. They're so fun. I could just play those dunes holes like over and over and over again. So yeah, that place is really cool, and the fact that it's going to be at the price point it's going to be, that it's a muni course and accessible and right on the ocean like that is very unique. And I think a lot of people are going to try to make their way down to Jekyll.
I hope they do, man. It was a lot of fun. You got to play it. We, like you said, we got to play it recently as well. And I guess the common theme, besides playing the course, is we both got to play it with our friend Alex Napier.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I said, Alex reached out to him after seeing that you guys connected and thought I was somewhat in his territory in his region down there. And it was a little bit further than I thought, but he still made the effort to come up. I mean, I guess when you've got a day free on a Sunday and one of your buddies, even if it's an internet buddy, as my wife likes to call them,
Yeah.
offers you a tea time to come on up, and so I was stoked to get a chance to play with him. I've been following him for, like, honestly, since he, I think, was living in Japan or soon thereafter. Since I got started with this, he was one of my first follows. I The algorithm connected us, and the rest was history. So
Yeah, no, both good people there. I'm glad you guys were able to get together and connect, and yeah, see that great place. So, anyway, we could talk more about Jekyll and just the cool stuff there, but we want to talk about you, man. I want to learn more and more. I know a little bit, but I want you to be able to share a little of your story. So, how did you get into golf? Did you grow up playing? When did that start for you?
yeah, not really at all. I was kind of like an anti-golfer growing up. Grew up playing hockey and lacrosse and wakeboarding and snowmobiling and snowboarding and doing all these different sports in upstate New York.
I'm about to say not
So
in
I'm,
Raleigh.
yeah, not Raleigh. I should clarify that. I grew up in upstate New York. So golf up there in upstate New York, like I'm talking 3-4 hours north of all of the city. There's some good courses, but most of them are private. And The public ones are, there's muni accessible courses, but it's just not something that at the time really pulled me in. I didn't have a father who was growing up playing the game. My dad didn't play. My grandfathers played, but at that point in their life, it was kind of a secondary thing. And so I had friends who were really into it, but I spent my time doing other stuff, and I had to set a club. So I was like a, 2 times a year golfer to go out there and do a tournament here or something like that, like a scramble. But when I moved to Raleigh, I was living downtown, and at the time, like, I had no way to get outside, and I just moved here. I was living with my now wife, and one of my buddies one day was like, "Hey, let's go. We're gonna play golf here at XYZ place." And I really enjoyed it, and I was like, "This is great to get outside, spend some time." And then I started playing more and more, and I brought my old crappy clubs down here, and then the bug fully came later on that year. I think I was out on a work trip in San Francisco and made an effort to go to Half Moon Bay and played golf on the ocean for the first time. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. And then a little thing called COVID happened, and it was right around that time. And we had a Tobacco Road tee time. I was like, I got to go check that place out. And 6 people on the tee sheet all day, my first visit. So a very unique first day at Tobacco Road, first experience. A lot of people have, maybe a longer round, and still a very fun round, but it's a busy place, right? Yeah, not that day. They were full of cancellations, and then the world kind of turned into what it did. But so that's kind of like my story of getting into the sport. And didn't really give it any time until I moved to North Carolina. So
Golf in the South, man. It's a good thing.
it's
It's
different,
one of the
man.
major benefits of living where there's not snow all the time.
It's very different. And I took notice of that really quick. And that's kind of where the Pines thing came from. It's like playing golf down here, being out in those courses, sort of looking around, and then I have a boat up on a lake about a half hour north of where I live, and similar terrain, right? And just the pine trees, I was looking at like, "Man, these things are gorgeous, these Carolina pines." And, so, yeah, I just kept saying that, and it kinda that's kinda what spawned into the Instagram account name.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's talk about that because, yeah, I mean, that's how we were introduced, right? I started following you, kind of a fan from a distance, right? As your wife says, internet friends, right? So we were like
yeah.
loving what you're doing with your photography, your video skills, and editing, and all that stuff, and started following you, getting to know you more and more. But how did you decide, besides saying Carolina Pines over and over again, how did you say, I'm going to start documenting these things and using a skill set? I don't know if you had that skill set before and stuff that you did, or was this something that you developed and kind of merged it with golf?
Yeah, I'd say it was really, I'd say I've always had a little bit of a creative bone, but never a photographer, never a videographer, really more than just pulling out an iPhone and doing, stuff that I thought was unique. But looking back, it was like the most basic elementary stuff, which is fine. It's how you get curiosity and you take interest in stuff. But like at the same time that all that golf bug thing was happening that I was talking about, I started watching, the no laying ups of the world, the fried eggs of the world, taking a little bit. I mean, living close to Pinehurst, you take a little bit of a curiosity to the courses that are down here, who designed them, and I'm a big history buff as it is. And then when you start to merge the golf aspect of what's around me and the fact that there's all this history you can unravel, I mean, it was just YouTube was very busy for a couple months for me. Let's just say that. I mean, I think I crushed like everything that could possibly be available on North Carolina golf, and then started to expand, everything from there. So watching watching that stuff really, I think, inspired me to not necessarily go out and highlight it to show other people. I think I just wanted to do it myself. I think because I really liked what, not that I thought I could do it any better. I thought, what they were doing was incredible. I was like, I want to do that too. I live in an area where I might be able to highlight some cool stuff. And, seeing golf courses from an aerial view, at the time, I think now we see it, right? Now we see it everywhere. Like everything is drone. But even, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it wasn't, as prominent, and it was still, you're seeing it on Instagram on these reels kind of coming out for, the first couple of years, and you're like, man, this is incredible. And I wanted to try to do it myself. So I went out and bought a drone
That's awesome.
and
What was your
just
first drone?
it's a Mavic 3. No,
Okay.
a Mavic Mini 2, I think it was. It was very small. It was like, I mean, look at compared to what I'm flying now, it was like this thing would get run over and deflected out of the sky if they
The wind
collided.
would
But
just take it forever.
yeah, totally. And but like, a lot of people, a lot of photographers have a baseline in photography with a real camera when they get started. And I most certainly did not. So I kind of had to work my way from drone photography and kind of learning photography through a drone, which is kind of embarrassing to even say, knowing how rudimentary those cameras are now. Um, to after I kind of understood that, to buying a real handheld camera and kind of going through the process of like figuring out how to use that and how to translate those skill sets back up to different drones as I fly them. And as the camera quality has improved, you can start to see things translate more. And but yeah, I quickly realized that some of those early drone cameras were no better than like a Nokia flip phone.
Well, if you would have waited on the perfect drone or the perfect camera to come out, like, you might not have started what you did. And I
Exactly.
know I love the fact that you started it for yourself, right? So you said, "I want to document some of these courses, this North Carolina landscape and trees and golf courses," and you did it for yourself. When did that really take off to where other people started noticing? I mean, were you posting on the Carolina Pines Golf Instagram page really for yourself, and then it kinda took off from there?
So initially, I started going to places like Tobacco and Mid Pines, and after I started to really start to peel back the onion, and I hadn't bought the drone yet, and I was posting just artsy iPhone photos, I'll call them, because that's exactly what they were. I mean, let's just take out the artsy part; they were iPhone photos, and I was kind of inundating my. If you go back on my private account, my Billy Rich account, you'll see that there was probably, a stretch where there's a lot of just golf courses posted, right, for no other reason. And I
Yeah.
started to realize I'm like, I'm posting a lot of just golf courses on this, and like maybe I got to do like a different home for all this stuff. So that's when I was like, Carolina Pines, right? This is something good to call it. I had a couple buddies that I had met in the golf locale through in Raleigh here, and they had these creative little names. So I chose Carolina Pines, and that's where I started posting, those iPhone photos and those. You can go way back and see some of those initial ones. I think I left them. I've left them up, and it's just fun to go back there sometimes and see some of the initial, ideas of it all. But I started putting it there, and it started to slowly, we'd get 5 likes, and then post something else, and someone get 10 and 15. And one time I went to Mid Pines, and it was like 100, right? And then it's like people started to engage with it, and it's like, this is cool. It was fun. Like not the likes, but like kind of building, a community of people talking about, this is what I loved Mid Pines. You should check out Pine Needles, or you should, and then all this was so new to me, right? Like I wasn't a golfer. I didn't know any of this stuff, right? So I'm this upstate New York boy. So I just kind of I latched on to that and fed off of it, and it kind of pushed me to keep going and to grow. And I knew that I lived in an area that was really unique, that was going to allow me to continue to hone the craft if I wanted to do that. And that's kind of what I did through over the last couple of years. I've tried to, at least.
Yeah. Coming from outside of golf, and you said you weren't a golf guy, how do you what was your style? Like, how would you describe that, and how are you trying to capture and tell the story of a golf course through your lens of different ways? Like, what are you trying to show to people, I guess?
Yeah, I think one, I sometimes I think about like how I got to doing in this interest of this sport that I didn't grow up playing, and in a creative angle that I didn't really grow up practicing, or a muscle that I grew up flexing. And I think about, some what was some things that I used to be interested in growing up that maybe there was peripheral, synergy there. And I was very much into music growing up and right even through my 20s and electronic music. I went through this phase of being really into DJs and wanting to make my own, doing my own mixes and stuff like that. I never wrote my own or created my own music, but that was like I was right there. And if it wasn't for the cost of getting the software in my early 20s, I totally would have done it. And I look back and all the MacBook stuff I have now and everything. It's like, man, I could have invested some of that stuff in the DJ stuff. And who knows, maybe I'd
Just
be on
jump on
tour now.
GarageBand and we're gonna have a
Yeah,
mixtape from
well,
Billy
and
Richards.
it was that stuff and exactly, and FL Studio and all that stuff, and so, but I would watch, different videos that people would put out, and I would make videos of like going on vacation, and I would do, take little clips here and there. I'd make recap videos, and I remember we went to a Montreal Formula One race, my buddies and I, for a weekend, and I made a little recap video and stuff, and threw music over it and kind of looking back and I'm like, this kind of maybe a prelude to some of the stuff that was to come. And so like I guess back to the what story and what's my style that I'm trying to tell. I mean, I think the music it kind of anchors everything. And I'm trying to push my way out of that a little bit, but I think that's at its core. That's kind of how I like to present, at least from a video perspective. Is like pick a song that fits the aesthetic, and whether the lyrics speak to what's happening, and you'll see something that's going to be coming out from Jekyll that I've really tried to tie lyrics into footage. If you listen to it, and so yeah, it's that type of thing. But also, there's just sometimes where there's it's not necessarily lyrics, but it's just a vibe or chords or something that fit the aesthetic of a course really well. Different things like that. So, but yeah, the pairing of music to golf courses has been something that I don't know, I feel like has always been fun for me and doing the real thing but there's aspirations to start doing more, telling more stories and trying to get more verbal with it for sure.
Interesting. So when you're out there, you're flying your drone and you're seeing these different things, do you have a story in mind of like, I'm trying to get this hole, this area, this whatever, and then is that music like as you're doing it, is like music or thoughts for potential pairings coming to mind?
Sometimes for sure, that
Yeah.
definitely happens. I mean, like, sometimes before I even go to a course, like, I'll start making playlists in my Spotify of songs that may fit. Like, that'll just potentially and I have playlists for just regular golf and maybe I'll pull for that and things like that, and for drone though, like I may make a reel for something like this, and so if somebody searches me on Spotify, they may see what's going to come out in the future of all the the
There you
future
go.
reels, they see
Little
all the
sneak
the
peek.
different courses. But so that's yeah, I think if that helps at all, but I don't know if that answers the question. I got a little off track there, but
No, I
anyways.
mean, I think music. I'm a big film score guy, and like how that music kind of paints the scene of a movie, even the movies I haven't seen yet. And I know you've taken incredible footage and stuff that you've done and paired it well with with music that I stop and watch every single one of them. So you're doing an incredible job there.
I
How
appreciate it.
well, of course. How are courses finding out? Has this just been a growing thing now of like you started doing this, they say, "Hey, he's done it for a Tobacco Road. He's done it for a Jekyll now." And or, "Hey, Billy, come do our course. Come tell our story."
Yeah, I think it's all different, right? I think it started out as completely me going out to places and just doing it on my own, and I'm trying to get back to doing more of that because that's kind of what started all this. And of course, when courses are saying, "Hey, come here, we'll offer you free golf," or the next thing start to get paid, and all those types of things. And there's of course there's now it's turned into a little bit of a business, right? A side business, and I enjoy that, and it's brought incredible opportunities. But this year, I made a commitment to getting back to doing more of just going to places, not because they're having me out, but because I want to go see it. And so the first place was Jekyll. I did reach out to them, but that was not like a hey, come out, and they were not having a paid photographer come out until the course settles in,
Sure.
for another year or so. I wanted to get out there and see that place. I want to highlight it. I saw it from the moment I saw that. I was like, I could do some cool stuff out there, and I want to go down there and get back to have that be one of the places I go in 2026 just to highlight it and do a bunch of awesome stuff and go from there with it. Not to say that I'm not going to continue to work with the clients that I have in the past and new ones, but definitely trying to get back to the roots of that, because I think that's creating for no other reason other than that I think it's cool, and that I think I can make something cool and tell a story the way I see it, right? So
Yeah.
um,
What other courses are on that list of places that you want to go to do your own thing, kind of tell your story the way you see it?
That's a good question. I think there's one, I'd say, series of courses that I would like to try to do this summer. The amount of stuff I got at Jekyll will keep me busy between now and probably the summer, and then obviously all the other stuff I'm going to be working on. But um, back upstate New York in the Adirondacks, where I'm from, just the Adirondack Mountains. It's a national park. It's the biggest national park in the country, and there's some awesome, unique, old school golf courses up there that I would love to do like a little 3 or 4 day tour around the Adirondack Park region, highlight maybe some of the 3 or 4 or 5 most historical golf courses up there, and do something like that. And so I'm trying to put that together, trying to find the time and all that stuff with a 18-month-old and a pregnant wife, and all that to allow me to do that with all the other awesome golf trips I've got planned this year. So
Yeah. That's
but
awesome. One, congratulations. I didn't know number 2 was on the way.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, another boy, and it's going to be chaos, so I better join a country club soon, or golf is going to be very expensive.
There you go. There you go. No, I mean, I love how you're kind of continuing to grow and develop these skill sets. Now, you mentioned going to Jekyll and you're spending a few days there, but it has months to cover you as far as content and stuff goes. So, like, what is your process? Like, when you go, you capture a course, whether a photo, drone, whatever. What is your process then to take it and make beautiful things that you allow the rest of us to see?
Yeah, so I mean, for video, and I think this ties into a question that you asked earlier that I didn't properly answer. Now that I fully remember it, but when I go, do I see like a shot that I want to get for a song, or vice versa? Do I go and shoot for the song and try to get footage for that? I think I used to just kind of go and shoot as just whatever I think looks good and focus on that, and that worked for a while. But as I want to kind of continue to tell a bigger story or a more clear story and include different elements of I guess cinematic storytelling, I'm starting to realize that I can't just go up there and just shoot broadly, and I have to capture different things at different focal lengths, at different wide angle stuff that tell different things, super close up things, and slow motion, static, all this different thing, right? To tell a proper story, and I kind of see those elements come together in the video. It really makes a video stand out versus just 15 200 foot off the ground drone shots of different holes, which is is fine. Like that's how I have done so much of my stuff, but I'm trying to push myself. I see what happens when you mix in something slow on the ground, or something that doesn't move, or a close up of wildlife, or sand, or broom sedge blowing, or palm trees sway, like those types of things mixed in with the footage. I think it really kind of brings the environment to life a little bit more. So I'm trying to focus on capturing that stuff. It's very easy to get caught up in flying and catching, the best light, and, just going up and down fairways and trying to get these, all these amazing features that's the easy part. It's trying to do the rest of those other like B-roll elements, I think that help tell stories more completely. And I think, this is a very new journey that I'm on. Like I just started really thinking about this stuff within the last year, and then trying to remember to get it every single time I go out and have the time to get it. And, not every, like when I'm on a paid gig, sometimes they don't want that stuff. They don't need, but if I'm trying to do a certain thing for me, I need that stuff. So it's like, I was able to really kind of work on some of that this week at Jekyll, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of that and trying to mix that in. So hopefully we'll see more elements of that coming in through some of the reels and stuff like that, and even the longer form stuff. I think I'm going to need some of that B-roll stuff as we do some more YouTube longer form stuff in the future, which is something that'll definitely be coming out in 2026. So.
That's awesome. And you're doing it all yourself, right? So you are the producer, director, video guy, editor, and publisher, all the above, right? It's all you.
Yeah, for Carolina Pines stuff, it is specifically. Yeah, I mean, there's there's collaborations that I'm starting to work with more people on for sure for certain, and it'll be clear, who those people are when we start to do that stuff. But as far as like everything that's come out so far, it's been 100% me.
That's awesome.
Sometimes it gets lonely,
Well,
but
I mean, as
it's
you
it's
as you
it's also
described,
fun.
like the different things of like, yeah, I'm flying the drone, but I also have to make sure to get the B-roll here and do all this, and you also might even be playing some golf while you're there,
For sure, and,
like
when I
trying
was
to get
at
it all
Cabot
done.
this year, yeah, like, Cabot's a great example this year. There's stuff I did not get when I got home. I was like, "Man, like, if I just had 3 hours or 2 hours to took and walk around and with a camera in my hand and got these little things, I would have had stuff that I really wanted." And, I ended up I didn't get a couple of things that I really thought would make a difference. And anyways, it was still great, but it was, a lot of what I was doing was between the sunrise, the sunset, and playing golf in between. You're right. One person, it's tough to do it all. So I see guys who work together in tandem or even in groups and stuff like that, and you can just accomplish, a lot more. And if you want to tell a broader story, then you need more hands
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, if Cabot's listening, Billy needs to come back because he's got more things he wants to do for you guys for sure.
Of course, of course.
Yep. Well, you're also talking about collaboration. You're also part of the new Carolina Golf Collective group, and as we talked today, the our episode with Josh Stevie came out, talking more about what he's doing with the magazine, the collective, and stuff. So, talk a little bit about that group, and then at the same time, talk about some other folks. They don't all have to be from that group, but other people that you look up to, respect, that are doing similar things that you do.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, I guess you mentioned Josh right there. I mean, what Josh has been putting together, and I know it's still in its, from his vision, it's still in its infancy stages, but it's very cool. The whole change to the magazine. I mean, major brand upgrade, and seeing what he's been able to put out over the last 9 months so far, and getting a kind of a group of really just, I guess, first and foremost, great guys, and hopefully adding some ladies to that as well in the future. I know we have some really incredible creators in the Carolinas, and I think kind of bringing some of these folks together has been awesome. I've known a couple of those guys, which has been awesome, and a couple of those guys I would call really good friends. And then I've gotten a chance to meet some new people through that through this whole thing as well, and it's been fun so far. We've only got a chance to get together as a small group once, and it's I think there's maybe 10 or 12 people in it so far, and it's going to be expanding. But it's tough to get everybody with the same schedules at different points in their lives together. But I think there'll be more to come from that group, and I give Josh a ton of credit for what he's building through that. So,
Yeah, it's
and
a
I
great
guess
group.
yeah, and I guess to the second part of that question, some of the people within that, and that, I guess within that group, I mentioned that are the folks that are good friends are, I have Matt Jr. and Matt Gibson, Drew Amato, those guys. I knew Matt and Matt, call them the Mats, before this, and have become close with those guys. Just Matt Jr. lives here in Raleigh, and Gibson down in Pinehurst, obviously not very far. But then Drew, I've been following him for a while, and we have always, kind of traded messages here and there. But when we got a chance to actually link up through this whole thing at one of Josh's events, we hit it off really well. And it was just like, that's just another example. Now we talk like a couple times a week, and it's just funny how that stuff, happens. And another internet friend, as my wife likes to say, right? So.
Yeah. Well,
So,
there's some good folks out there, and now y'all are doing some incredible stuff. And I think, like we've kind of hinted at the whole time, and even the Carolina Pines theme there. There is some good golf here in the Carolinas, and good stories to tell, not only about courses but around people surrounding all these things. So y'all are
no,
doing some
absolutely.
incredible work.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to tell the stories and continue to get the inspiration and have people, the reception has been awesome over the last couple of years and definitely fuels the fire to create more.
Yeah.
So,
Do
but
you have?
it's not all for them. Mostly for me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Do you have some favorite projects that you've been able to work on so far?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I know
you
that's
know,
a
get,
loaded question. It's like, who's your favorite kid, right? And they're all the favorites. So, but any
yeah,
standout?
I think, getting a chance to work with Pinehurst on some of the photography for the opening of number 10 was incredible opportunity. That was really cool and something that I still see some of that initial photography on some of the whether it's stuff that they send out, emails, blasts, things like that, or even at the resort. So that was really cool. Being one of the first times I actually got to work with them on kind of a little bit more of a formal level, which was awesome. Which led to stuff later at the U.S. Open or leading up to it earlier later that year, which is another pretty pinch me stuff flying a drone around that place with the stands were up. Looking back at that, that's footage that I'll never ever lose right there. I
Yeah,
mean, it's so cool. I was actually talking with Gibson about that the other day and being like, I don't have any good footage of number two without that stuff up. So it's like, and he goes to me, he's like, well, dude, think about it. It's like not many people have good footage of number two with that up too. So I'm
seriously.
like, yeah, that's a great point. It's a great
Yeah,
point, Matt. So and then, I think Cabot was incredible. I mean, the relationship that I've been able to build with that brand and that organization so far has been, nothing short of awesome. I mean, from just a guy trying to go to cool places and make some cool stuff for how good they've been to me, from the opportunity to be on the cover of Golf Magazine to, go shoot an opening, of a property in Florida, and then to get up and go see what I would consider to be one of the greatest golf properties in the world up in Nova Scotia this summer was now not with just me, but with my whole family. It was pretty incredible. So those are definitely some of the highlights, but there's definitely a ton more. Working, I'd say even with in your neck of the woods with the Broomsedge Club and being on that property from basically tree stumps to seeing it open up and become what it is today, and getting a chance to kind of document some of that with my buddy David. Just a lot of cool stuff it's led to, and sometimes it's pinch me moments for sure, and just grateful to be able to continue to be able to have the opportunity to do it.
yeah. Well, you do it incredibly well. We'll and I could keep picking your brain about all this stuff, and maybe we can do that offline some other time. But or we just need to get together again and hang out. But uh,
I think the latter.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, as we start to wrap up, a few questions we want to ask. So, what is the story of your most memorable golf shot?
My most memorable golf shot. Man, I am not a very good golfer, I'll be honest
It
with
doesn't
you. So
matter.
there's not a whole lot of those, but I'd say probably, I did hole out from a bunker at Pinehurst number two, the ninth hole. Unfortunately, it was not for birdie because I duffed it into the bunker before that. But it was in like, I got invited to play in this media group for the Pinehurst or for the U.S. Open last year, which was hysterical because the fact that people thought that I'm media, right? I'm with like, some of the guys from Barstool and these big personal, these influencers have like 200,000 followers. And that's like, this little guy with like 15,000 followers. But I was playing with some of these, and it was funny. And I ended up duffing it into the bunker, right? And then next shot, boom, goes right in the hole from that pit of a bunker in the front of the green on hole nine. So that I guess that was pretty memorable. Had an eagle at whole out eagle for pine needles. So there's some good ones, but no holes in one or anything like that yet.
Yeah, we're
Um,
we're tied
so
there then.
yeah, exactly,
Yep.
exactly.
All right. Well, this other thing we do is a quick nine. It's just a rapid fire. So
All right,
what is the favorite course you've ever played?
Cabot Cliffs.
Yeah. That one has come up by a number of my friends that hey, let's plan a best ball trip there. So for sure.
I'm
What
in.
course? Yeah, you're coming. Good. You can be our guide. What course is at the top of your bucket list?
Top of the bucket list, probably Cyprus.
Okay. Would that be like a bonus question? What course would be at the top of your like? I want to throw a drone up in the air. Yeah, I mean, Cypress probably be another good one, but
Yeah, well, that, but I honestly probably Bandon because you're gonna get a 5-for-1 special there. I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of candy on the ground to shoot there, so I think you're not just yeah. There's I think Bandon is probably the ultimate.
Okay. What is the favorite course that nobody knows about?
Favorite course that nobody knows about. This is changing, and I've been speaking this for a number of years now. I've been hammering this, but upstate New York, I mean, people know about it now because it's on a top 100 list, or it was. I think it fell off again, but one of those ones that's on and off every other couple of years. Glens Falls Country Club, upstate New York. Donald Ross, 1912, unbelievable golf course. It hasn't really been touched since then. I mean, it is maintained as is, and um, they've done just an incredible job up there. Some really cool land that he laid out some awesome golf holes on. Brian Schneider actually just got the gig as the consulting architect there, so it'll be really, really interesting to see what he dials in there for changes because there hasn't been many, and that's kind of I think what he's seen, and it definitely needs a couple things to kind of bring it up to the next era of where things are at now, right, from a drainage perspective and bunkers and things like that. Um, but other than that, it's a pretty awesome place.
Yeah.
I think it's one of his best
Yeah. If Brian's a part of it, it's going to be amazing. So that's
for sure.
awesome. Who'd be in your dream foursome?
Dream foursome. I would say my father and then my two grandfathers. I'm just going to keep it in the family. I think golf for me is about the people and about playing with people that I just really enjoy being around in awesome places. And it's not about how I score or necessarily even with famous golfers because that's not really who I grew up watching or any of that stuff. So I'd say my two grandfathers and my old man.
All
Yep.
right. What is your favorite snack at the turn?
Favorite snack at the turn. Definitely a big what are those Uncrustables. I do a lot of those Uncrustables. It's bad,
Yeah.
but they've become like a go-to just because they're so mobile and you can eat them ice cold, you can eat them a little warmer. And I mean, they're just
Yeah. How are I've heard incredible things. How are the Cabot cookies?
they're good. I mean, I think they have multiple different kinds. So I think they have a
Okay.
sugar cookies. I think I've had. I think the first time I was there, they had a chocolate chip cookie. So I think yeah, they're all good.
Yeah.
They're all
Gives you the
good.
energy you need to fly the drone for sure.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
All right. What is your favorite golf course logo?
My favorite golf course logo, I would say, would be I'm going to say Broom Sedge because one of my friends, Tatiana, designed it. David McFarland's wife. So shout out to Tatiana and David and Broom Sedge. That's my favorite logo.
Yeah, it is really good. Um,
Absolutely.
all right. Favorite pro shop purchase?
Favorite pro shop purchase. Right now I'm going through a lot of t-shirts, just straight t-shirts because, after the polos and after the hoodies and after the hats, like where do you go?
Yeah.
So yeah, right now we're doing that, but flags are another one. I have a huge flag collection in my, kind of embarrassing me right now because I do have a really good one, but it's in my garage. I've got about 25 in there, and I haven't been adding to it lately. I need to kind of get back on that. I was hoping to do it at Great Dunes, but they didn't have the actual flags from the
I
course,
know.
which were really cool in the pro shop. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna wait till they get those in here
Yeah,
because I wanted that flag.
that was one thing we noted as well. They didn't have that one available. All
Yeah.
right, a couple more. What is one thing golfers should do?
Walk. Walk. If you can walk, golfers should walk. I think it's I've definitely started riding and blasting around in carts. And fell in love with the game doing that and got the bug with it. But the more and more I've realized walking is where it's at, without a doubt. If you can do it, do it.
Yep. All right, final question. Finish this sentence. The best part of golf is.
The people. I think getting outside and enjoying time with the people, and whether it's people you know or people you don't, I think this game has given me strong relationships with those I do, and really good relationships, awesome relationships with those I didn't know going into it. So I think the people, is the game for me without a
Yeah.
doubt. I know it sounds cheesy, but
No,
that's what it
that's
is.
our answer. Golf is
Yeah.
people, man. It's again, nobody
Heck
will
yeah, man.
remember the scores. We might remember that hole out bunker shot, but what the rest of the game, who cares? But if you had a good time with good folks,
And I had to struggle
hopefully,
to even put that
yeah,
together for you. So
yep,
exactly.
yeah. Well,
Awesome.
Billy, this has been awesome, man. Tell everybody where they can go find more info about Carolina Pines.
Yeah, right now it's just really Instagram is the main the hub for all that. I've been trying to do a little bit more kind of unpolished stuff on TikTok. I'm not a huge fan of that app and just all the crap that's on it, but it's also a nice spot for videos. And I think there's been some good reception I always traffic. I don't know reception. I don't know half the stuff, half the accounts on there. I feel like are robots, but I'm doing some stuff over there, and then YouTube is another area that I'm trying to slowly dabble more in. I'm not trying to rush it because I want to put out stuff that aligns with the standard of what I do on Instagram, but um, hopefully with more collaborations and more hands on deck in the future, there's going to be more long form stuff that comes out there. So
That's awesome. Well, we highly recommend any and all of the stuff that you put out there because it is really, really good. Again, I consume every bit of it. So
I
please,
appreciate it,
please
brother.
keep going, keep
We're
putting it
gonna
out
keep
there.
going. We're gonna
Yep.
keep going for sure. For sure.
Awesome. Well, for Billy, this is Robbie. You guys have been listening to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast.